Okay, so here's something that should genuinely unsettle you. You clear your cookies, you switch to a VPN, you think you've gone dark, and within 60 seconds of browsing, the system already knows it's you again.
Not because of anything you typed, because of how you move.
So, we're talking about behavioral fingerprinting today, and I want to start with what I think is the core shift happening here, because it's not just a privacy story, it's actually a story about what identity even means anymore.
Right, and to understand why this matters, you have to go back to how identity used to work online. You filled out a form, you said, I'm 34, I live in Chicago, I like hiking. That's declared identity. The whole ad economy was basically built on that.
Which, I mean, people were already lying on those forms constantly.
Constantly. So platforms started looking at what people do instead of what they say. And that's the click graph. It's this massive map of who clicked what, in what order, at what time.
And from that, you can infer a lot.
An uncomfortable amount. Yeah.
So walk me through the mechanism. Like, how does clearing your cookies actually fail to protect you?
Okay, so the key insight is that your habits are more persistent than any identifier. The way you scroll, do you skim fast or do you slow down on certain things? How long do you hover before you click? What time of day do you browse? These patterns are remarkably stable over months, sometimes years.
So it's not your fingerprint in the traditional sense. It's more like your gait, the way you walk. That's actually a perfect analogy.
And there's research, a large-scale study, over 150,000 users tracked across 2 years, showing that behavioral fingerprints are so unique and so consistent that an adversary can eliminate 84 to 95% of your anonymity just by observing a single browsing session before and after you try to hide.
Wait, really? One session?
One session. And after you've done the thing, cleared cookies, changed your IP, you lose 78 to 85% of your anonymity within the first 60 seconds of browsing again.
That's genuinely alarming.
10 minutes later, you're at 90% gone. So the VPN is not doing what people think it's doing.
Right. So then what happens with all of this behavioral data? Because it's not just sitting in a log somewhere.
No, and this is where it's actually kind of fascinating in a deeply weird way. There are now machine learning systems that take raw clickstream data, which is like just noisy chaos, thousands of events, and they compress it into natural language personas. Like an LLM reads your behavioral logs and writes a character description of you.
I'm sorry, what?
So there's this framework where the system first identifies what you were trying to do at each moment. It clusters contiguous actions into what they call intent memories. An average session of 291 raw log entries gets compressed down to like 83 intent memories.
Which then get compressed further.
Into maybe 4 or 5 core personas per user. Yeah. So you end up with something like, this user is a late-night anxiety researcher who comparison shops compulsively before buying and has a strong distrust of mainstream sources.
And that came from click data, not from anything I told anyone.
Not from anything you said. Ever.
Okay, but here's what I keep coming back to. The really strange part isn't even the surveillance. It's the philosophical thing underneath it. Because if a system can describe who I am more accurately than I can, based on what I do rather than what I say, like which one is the real identity? That's the renegotiation I think we're in the middle of. And platforms are already acting on this. The ad industry has basically declared demographics dead. They're not targeting men 25 to 34. They're targeting users who engage with sports content during specific time windows with particular browsing patterns. Which is, it's creepier, but it's also more accurate. Looping back to what you said about the personas, there's a dark side to that too, right? Because those same personas can be weaponized.
Yeah, so this is the cyborg propaganda piece, and it's where I think the stakes go way up. The traditional bot threat, platforms got reasonably good at detecting that. Automated accounts behave too regularly, too mechanically.
No human clicks at perfectly metered intervals. Exactly. But what if instead of bots, you use real people? Real verified accounts with established behavioral histories. You generate the narrative with AI,
You feed it to actual humans, they post it organically.
And the detection systems see a grassroots movement.
With the linguistic diversity of a real one, because it is real humans writing it. The identity is authentic. The articulation is synthetic. And the regulatory frameworks, the EU AI Act, Section 230, they're all built on a human-bot binary that this completely collapses.
It's fighting the last war.
Completely.
So where does this leave us? Because I don't want to end on pure doom here, but I can't pretend this resolves neatly.
It doesn't. And I think the honest answer is that we're in a transition where the tools we built for privacy, anonymization, obfuscation, were built for a world where identity was stored in identifiers. Cookies, IPs, account names, and that world is basically gone.
Because the identifier now is you. Your rhythms, your habits.
Which you can't clear. You can't change your behavioral gate the way you change an IP address.
And on the manufactured consensus side, whether it's cyborg propaganda in politics or AI personas giving your startup fake validation, the signal integrity of the whole information environment starts to degrade. Like, how do you trust that what you're seeing reflects what people actually think?
That's the deeper problem. It's not just surveillance. It's that the feedback loops we use to understand reality are getting quietly bent.
Which is a lot.
It really is. All right, we'll link to the research in the show notes. Some of the click graph stuff in particular is worth reading if you want to go deeper. Yeah, it's dense, but it's worth it.
I'm Nova.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Code and Cosmos.